you. Women and Gender Studies, like ethnic studies, is a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary program. It's been around at the college for 25 years. Also came out of protest and struggle, straight out of the feminist movement in the 60s, in the late 60s, early 70s. So it is in a tradition of being a program that looks at the world through a very critical lens. It just happens to be that in this particular case, the lens is questions related to women, gender, and sexuality. And the program is developed very intentionally to give students maximum flexibility. That means that you only take 4 core courses within women and gender studies, and then the rest of the courses are from across the campus, including pretty much all the people that you saw here today, so that students will take classes from history as long as the history class relates to women and gender or sexuality. Students will take classes in sociology, the ones that that you saw named today in terms of family, gender, other kinds of topics that relate to women and gender. Same with politics, same with communications. So that women and gender studies is an approach to the world, to academic study, to the way of seeing the world, to way of uncovering areas of the world that we may not have thought of. I was recently having a conversation online with somebody who was talking about climate change, and there were big climate activists, and I just offhandedly said something about gender, and this person said, "You're kidding, you're not going to tell me that climate change has gender?" And I was like, "Of course it does." And the person was saying, "How is that possible?" So then I had to give him a little lesson about how gender permeates everything across the world. It's just that we don't necessarily always think about it. It may be the thing that you forget about. In the world, in the United States in particular, we are so well attuned to race, to questions of ethnicity, because we have a history related to that. Gender, not all the time. Sometimes we think about women. Rarely do we think about anybody else that doesn't fit in the binary of male or female. And Women and Gender Studies seeks to remedy that through all the different courses that we look at St. Mary's and the students can take. And so far as the program is concerned, because it is also a program that was rooted in protests and that came out of social movements, the program at St. Mary's is very much centered as an academic program that is very conscious and activist in many different ways. And so we encourage our students to get involved once the theory and that they're getting in class begins to permeate or begins to go out of the classroom and into the St. Mary's community. Students will start to notice things that have to do with women, that have to do with gender, that have to do with sexuality, and they realize there still needs for change right here on the campus. We don't have to wait till we graduate to begin to have an impact on the world. We begin to try to solve problems, identify and solve problems, which can become very good areas of practice for students as they become more attuned to what's going to happen after you graduate, after they begin to think about what am I going to do with a women's studies degree. The careers that our students do have been mentioned by everybody else here because they are part of the liberal arts tradition of seeing the world with a critical eye to identify problems and then try to fix them. But giving what some of the areas that we cover, our students go into areas like law school, family law, and sexual harassment things. They go into social work, They go into psychology, around counseling, around sexuality. They go into teaching, some of them at the elementary to K through 12 level. Some go on for master's degrees or PhDs in women and gender studies. A lot of students also work in the non-governmental organizations, in nonprofit organizations. Some of the, you might have heard of the Women's March that has been happening every January or February. The Oakland Women's March is organized by a St. Mary's alum who graduated from our program. Other of our students go into human resources as well, into diversity training. We have a number of students who have started working in Silicon Valley because some of those companies have been under a lot of pressure to diversify their workforces. And two of our students are working in Silicon Valley precisely in questions of diversity hiring. So they're headhunters for their organizations, but looking specifically for ways to diversify the workforce. Our students go into politics, whether they be local politics or whether they be larger. Again, because the idea is that what you have is a set of skills and an approach that allows you to see gaps that may not have been detected by corporations, by businesses, by municipal governments, by state governments. And the idea is that you can help solve those and in the process come a little closer to achieving equity and equality and social justice. So I think we would describe ourselves as a social justice major with a specific focus on questions that have to do with women, gender, sexuality, and what it means to be male, female, non-binary in the modern world, both in the US and outside of the US as well, to have a global focus. So in that sense, we're similar to ethnic studies in its multidisciplinary approach, that you take